Hi, everyone. It's Miss Akbari in the library, and I wanted to tell you a little bit about the book Shiver by Maggie Stiefvater. I actually want to start telling you about the book by reading the first couple chapters, which they're actually very, very short chapters, but I think it'll help understand a little more what this book is about. Chapter 1, Grace, 15 degrees Fahrenheit. I remember lying in the snow, a small spot of warm, going cold, surrounded by wolves. They were licking me, biting me, worrying at my body, pressing in. Their huddled bodies blocked what little heat the sun offered. Ice glistened off their ruffs, and their breath made opaque shapes that hung in the air around us. The musky smell of their coats made me think of wet dog and burning leaves, pleasant and terrifying. Their tongues melted my skin, their careless teeth ripped at my sleeves and snagged through my hair, pushed against my collarbone, the pulse at my neck. I could have screamed, but I didn't. I could have fought, but I didn't. I just lay there and let it happen, watching the winter white sky go gray above me. One wolf prodded his nose into my hand and against my cheek, casting a shadow across my face. His yellow eyes looked into mine, while the other wolves jerked me this way and that. I held on to those eyes for as long as I could. Yellow, and up close, flecked brilliantly with every shade of golden hazel. I didn't want him to look away, and he didn't. I wanted to reach out and grab a hold of his ruff, but my hand stayed curled on my chest, arms frozen to my body. I couldn't remember what it felt like to be warm. Then he was gone, and without him, the other wolves closed in too close, suffocating. Something seemed to flutter in my chest. There was no sun. There was no light. I was dying. I couldn't remember what the sky looked like. But I didn't die. I was lost to a sea of cold, and then I was reborn into a world of warmth. I remember this, his yellow eyes. I thought I'd never see them again. Chapter 2, Sam. They snatched the girl off her tire swing in the backyard and dragged her into the woods. Her body made a shallow track in the snow, from her world to mine. I saw it happen. I didn't stop it. It had been the longest, coldest winter of my life, day after day under a pale, worthless sun, and the hunger that burned and gnawed, an insatiable master. That month, nothing moved, the landscape frozen into a colorless diorama, devoid of life. One of us had been shot trying to steal trash off someone's back step, so the rest of the pack stayed in the woods and slowly starved, waiting for warmth in our old bodies, until they found the girl, until they attacked. They crouched around her, snarling and snapping, to tear into the kill first. I saw it. I saw their flanks shuddering with their eagerness. I saw them tug the girl's body this way and that, wearing away the snow beneath her. I saw muzzles smeared with red. Still, I didn't stop it. I was high up in the pack. Beck and Paul had made sure of that, so I could have moved in immediately, but I hung back, trembling with the cold, up to my ankles in the snow. The girl smelled warm, alive, human, above all else. What was wrong with her? If she was alive, why wasn't she struggling? I could smell her blood, a warm, bright scent in this dead, cold world. I saw Salem jerk and tremble as he ripped at her clothing. My stomach twisted, painful. It had been so long since I'd eaten. I wanted to push through the wolves to stand next to Salem and pretend that I couldn't smell her humanness or hear her soft moans. She was so little underneath our wildness, the pack pressing against her, wanting to trade her life for ours. With a snarl and flash of teeth, I pushed forward. Salem growled back at me, but I was rangier than him despite my starvation and youth. Paul rumbled threateningly to back me up. I was next to her, and she was looking up at the endless sky with distant eyes, maybe dead. I pushed my nose into her hand. The scent on her palm, all sugar and butter and salt, reminded me of another life. Then I saw her eyes, awake, alive. The girl looked right at me, eyes holding mine with such terrible honesty. I backed up, recoiled, starting to shake again, but this time it wasn't anger that racked my frame. Her eyes on my eyes, her blood on my face. I was tearing apart, inside and outside. Her life, my life. The pack fell back from me, wary. They growled at me, no longer one of them, and they snarled over their prey. I thought she was the most beautiful girl I'd ever seen, a tiny, bloody angel in the snow, and they were going to destroy her. I saw it. I saw her in a way I've never seen anything before. and I stopped it. So you might have figured out that Grace and Sam are telling two versions of the same story. And in this story, Grace lives in the woods. She spent her whole life watching wolves behind her house, especially in the winter. And she's attacked when she's young. She's attacked by a wolf pack and almost dies. And she's saved by something with yellow eyes. Sam is one of the wolves. He is on the verge of starvation, as is his entire pack, through this really tough winter. And when he finally gets a look at Grace lying there on the snow, he's kind of struck by her beauty, and he stands up for her. He protects her. He saves her. What we don't know about Sam, but what I'll tell you about Sam, is he is not a wolf all of the time. His wolf pack in the summer months retake their human forms. And so that creates the bulk of our story. So Grace and Sam actually do meet both as humans at some other point. And Grace can't really figure out where she knows Sam from. Sam knows the whole time, but doesn't really know how to reveal that secret. So this is part of our supernatural section. It's the beginning of a series. If you like books where our characters are maybe part human, part something else, if you like interesting stories like that, if you've ever read werewolf stories, things of that nature, this might be a good read for you. If you like romance with some supernatural elements to it, this also might be a good book for you to read. Shiver by Maggie Stiefvater.